Alright, welcome back. So, fair warning here, guys. You're going to want to make a clean copy of your project, just in case anything we do today breaks things in your project. We're going to be going over how to update to 2019.2. Now that that's out, we're going to be talking about how to optimize your UI for multiple displays by making sure that we're using the anchor portion of any UI element that we create. We're also going to be cleaning up our tile map a little bit and cleaning up the input system. Tomorrow, we're going to be continuing with these cleaning up things where we're going to look at the enemies, making sure that the enemies work like they should, and then we're going to look at the pickups. So let's jump right in here, guys. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So last week, I just put out my 2019.1 video, and this week, out of nowhere, 2019.2 dropped. So we're going to be covering a few different things today. Today's video is going to be kind of long because of it. We're going to cover upgrading to 2019.2, so I don't have to put that off any longer. And we're also going to cover a lot of fixes that we're going to need to do since we did the refactor. So this video is going to end up being pretty long. I'll put time codes in as to where you can find specific things, or if you need to come back to this in pieces, because I foresee this being one of the longest videos I've done in this series, because I don't know. I just want to get it all done so that we can get forward to something fun. All right, so if you have Unity Hub, where you can find 2019.2 is you go to Installs, and you click Add, and choose the latest official release for his 2019.0 F1, which is the one that I have installed. Select that, and then go through Next, and then choose the modules that you want to have. I don't know why I have this 2019.1 here, and I have this 5.6.6 for projects I'm working on that I need to do upkeep on that can't be updated. So anyway, back to our projects. I called this for new version now. 2019.2 is out and fixes, so that's what it'll be labeled on the GitHub. Choose which version you want to run it in. For my case, it's 2019.2, and I will confirm. And it's going to take a little while, so I'm definitely going to speed through this. Okay, so that seems to be a good sign. If we go to our console, our errors are about the Facebook SDK. I think that's just okay, and then it changed the packages. So let's see if it'll run. Oh, it will not run. All right. So let's clear this out. Multiplayer DLL failed. Alright, so I restarted Unity and already everything looks different, so that's kind of a good sign. Let's see if it'll play now. Alright, cool. We're still getting these errors over here, but I'm pretty sure I know how to fix that. If I walk around, okay. So we're starting out to be in a good spot. Now, let's go about fixing some stuff here. So the first thing I want to talk about is project structure. Our project here, I guess it doesn't look so bad when it's laid out like this, but it was looking a little bit unmanageable here. There's a few things we're not using anymore that we can get rid of. We can get rid of tiled Unity and tile maps. The tile palettes need to stay here. Text Mesh Pro, scriptable objects, scenes, resources, that's for DoTween. We got our prefabs, plugins, materials, Gizmos, fonts, Demi Giant. Okay, so it looks like the only things we can get rid of are tiled Unity and tiled. Now you can't get rid of those if you're still using tiled and super tiled to Unity, but super tiled to Unity is way better now than tiled to Unity was, and I'll maybe come back and explore that in a later time. And it looks like I'm going to have to do some fixing to, at the very least, my UI sizes, which I'll come back to. Now, first though, project structure. So let me get rid of these two folders. I'm just going to wantonly delete it, but I have a backup, so I'm not going too far out of line here. And make sure everything's going to run like I want it to. Alright, cool. Now, let's go take a look at our input. When I first created this series, I didn't have it planned super far in advance. I only had it planned up to about part 10 or so. So the input is something I never really thought too much about. Now that I've had more time to think about it, there's some changes I want to make. So let's do that. Let's go to Edit, Project Settings, and we want to go to Inputs. Now currently we have 21 different inputs here. I want to take a look at these and change a few. So currently, and this is going to break like everything. So currently what I want to do is, instead of calling this second weapon, I want to change this to ability. So that way we can have it be the bow or whatnot. And now this joystick button 17. Since it's the summer, I'm doing some development on my PC. So we're going to have to take a look at that joystick button mapping. Okay, so here we are. Now, I want to be using the Windows, but if you yourself are using either Mac or Linux, you need to pay attention to what these are going to be for you. So for me, using Windows, I want my control layout to be left stick to move, and let's say start to pause, which is joystick button 7. And then I also want it to be, let's do A for interaction, let's do X for a sword attack, and then I either want to do Y or B for an ability. You could have two abilities active at once. You could have like ability 1 and ability 2, that'd be fine. But I want to have just the sword and one ability at any given time. And I want to have a separate button for submit. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to go back to my input mapping. Let's see here, submit. I want that to be either return or joystick button 0. And I have the second submit here, which for some reason I have as enter and space. Let's delete that element. Again, I have a backup of this, so I would suggest that you make your own backup before you go willy-nilly changing stuff like this. So this attack, I'm going to have this be weapon attack. It's going to be space, and joystick button is at 1, 2. Joystick button 2. I wonder, do I have to do 0, 2? No, it looks like I can just do 2. Joystick button 2. Alright, cool. Now for ability, I already have that set up. Instead of being joystick button 17, I'm going to have that be, let's do the Y button. I always like using Y more than B. I don't know why. Let's do joystick button 3. Alright. And then pause, we've got pause, and that should be joystick button 7 for PC. I don't know why it's different for Mac, but it is. Alright, cool. So we got those. Now, out of here. Now let's take a look at one of the scenes that I've been meaning to come back to, but I haven't in forever, and that is the start menu. So in the start menu here, nothing fits like it should on the screen. So you can see that I've got the trees fit, but the actual title and everything doesn't fit. And here's why. If I go to my canvas, I need to make sure that my canvas is set not to be a constant pixel size, but to scale with screen size. And then for my reference resolution, I need to make sure it's the same reference resolution that I had in my other scene. So I'm going to save this scene really quickly. And let's go back to, I believe it's sample scene instead of overworld, yeah. Now in here, if I look at my canvas, scale with screen size 800 by 600. So back to the start menu, scale with screen size 800 by 600. Alright, so that's good. Now I want to put stuff where it should be. So currently my background image is just fine. My text press pro text, I'm going to change this to be title text, and I'm going to need to resize it so that it fits where it's supposed to. And that means I'm going to need to change the font size as well. Let's go 64. Let's go bigger. Let's go 80. That's good. And now these buttons both, so I'm going to grab them both and resize them. Nope, that didn't work like I wanted it to. Instead, I'm just going to reposition them. And then this will go here. Currently, they're 355 by 119. Let's make that 256 by 128. And same for the other one. 250, nope, not 1256, 256 by 128. Now the text inside of them doesn't fit very well. So let's scale that text down and make sure to change the anchors. I actually probably should have changed the anchors first. One of the things I get questions about a lot, sorry, this video is going to be kind of free-flowing. One of the things I get questions about a lot is resizing for different displays, and this is the anchor position is honestly the biggest thing you can possibly make sure that you're doing right in order to resize for different displays. So in this case, I'm going to make my minimum, so with my text selected in my rect transform here, I'm going to make my minimum at, let's say, 0.1 for x, and my max at x is going to be 0.9. Then for y, I'm going to do the same thing. 0.1 is the min, and 0.9 is the max, instead of just kind of blindly fumbling around. Now with the anchors set first, if I grab the text or the rect resize button, you'll see it snaps to where the anchors are. Now the reason this is important is because it'll keep this percentage. Think of this as 10%. So the x minimum is 10% from the left, and the x max is 90% from the left. It'll keep these no matter what display size you have. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the, this is still way too big though. Let's go like 196 by 96. That's a bit better. Now in here you'll see that this resized nicely, and that's because I have this box set to go with the anchors, and I have the anchors set to a percentage. Now on my, let's actually name this button too. So this is going to be new game button, and then this is going to be new game text. Alright, for my second button here, we'll call this quit to desktop button, and this is going to be quit to desktop text. Alright, cool. Now, did I do 196? Yeah. So let's make this one 196 by 96. And you'll see it didn't resize nicely because I hadn't set these anchors on this one. So now I'm going to set the anchors. So the x min is going to be 0.1, the x max is 0.9, the y min is going to be 0.1, and the y max is going to be 0.9. And now these will snap right to where they should be. There we go. So generally that looks better. Now if we go back to our game here and we kind of resize our display, see how that flows so much more nicely? The reason it does that is because of the anchors. So all of those comments I keep getting about resizable displays, we're kind of covering it as we go. So anchors, they're your friends. Alright, so now, cool, so this should be fixed. Let's try. The quit to desktop button doesn't work, but if we go to new game, alright, we're in our game. Now really that should open into the house interior so that we can run that cutscene. We'll address that soon enough though. So let's save this. Now let's go back to our, dear Lord, why do I call these both sample scene? That's ridiculous. Alright, let's go back to our sample scene and let's start fixing some UI issues in here now. So, where do we start with this? Let's go to our, well first let's make our pause canvas turned off so that we're only dealing with one canvas at a time. Next let's go to our canvas here and let's deal with where things are to make sure that everything's where it should be. So again, scale with screen size 800 by 600. The place text, if I make this active, this is in the center. I'm using text, I should be using Text Mesh Pro for this, but for now we'll keep it there. this should be anchored in the center. So everything is in reference to whatever its parent is. In this case, its parent is the entire canvas. So its min and max are set to be 0.5, and it's set to be this amount away from it. The X position, that's a rounding thing. Whenever you see that like 3.000e -5 or something like that, that is Unity doing some rounding in the background. Let's make this 500 wide and 128 tall, since I like powers of 2. And let's make the X min be 0.25. The max is 0.75. Nope, that's not good enough. Let's go 0.15. That's better. 0.85. And then for Y, we'll go 0.4. No, that's not enough. 0.25. No, 4 was good. And then this will be 0.6. Now I can resize this again, and it'll snap neatly to the anchors. And again, this changes it, so like this should just be zeros here. Unity's just doing some rounding in the background. All right, cool. And I'm going to turn on best fit for that. All right, nice. So that's one thing fixed. Let's take a look at our dialog box. So we've got dialog. Let's make our anchors good for this. So let's go 0.1. Yeah, that's pretty good. 0.9. And then for Y, this is measured from the bottom, so I'm going to go 0.05. And then we'll do like 0.45. Yeah. You can see these little white arrows changing in the background, so I'm going to snap this right to where it should be. Nope, didn't mean to move that anchor. There we go. And then we'll make these. You'll see how this turned right back to that weird number after I did it. That's, again, Unity's rounding. Now, as part of the dialog box, I've got the text, which I'm going to rename to dialog text. And since I didn't do the anchors on this, you'll see that it's a little wonky. So I want this to always be, let's say, 0.1, 0.1, 0.9, 0.9. And then I'll shift these to match directly with the anchors. And I'm also going to, I guess I'll leave the text left justified like that. That's fine. No, I'm going to make it center and center. I think that's better. All right, cool. So now again, if we go look at our game view here, if I resize the screen, you'll see how nicely that resizes with it. And that has to do with the anchors again. So let's turn our dialog box off. And let's fix some more things here. Our health holder. This is fine to be anchored in the upper left. It just means that these numbers here, I'm going to make them a little bit neater. Let's say 128. And let's say -64. No, not -64. -96. And then let's make the width like 192. I just like powers of 2, that's all. And the height is 128. All right, cool. Now inside the health holder, we've got our heart containers and our slider. Let me hit play to make sure I haven't messed up everything too much here. Nope, that looks fine. Now one thing you could do, I was playing around with this and I noticed I didn't like how much this was obscuring the background. One thing you could do is we could change the alpha value on all of these things. So we can make our health holder have like, say, let's do 120. And then for our hearts, we can do the same thing. We'll set them all to be 120. And I haven't done it to the slider yet, just so you can see a comparison. That I think helps kind of a lot, but it's maybe too transparent. I don't know, your mileage may vary. So maybe you want your UI to be a bit more transparent, because as it is right now, it's taking up kind of a lot of screen space, and I think it might get in the way. But I'm going to change these back to 255 so that they're fully opaque. All right, there we go. So the health holder is okay. Coin info is anchored down here, which is fine. Now, the minimap, I never went around to changing its anchors. So, oops. Why didn't I make the mask a child of the overlay? Let's open the prefab and do this here. Alright, so the mask should be a child of the overlay. Oh no, that's why I didn't do that. Okay. So then, let me make a separate game object here that I'm going to call minimap. And I'm going to change the scale to be 1. And I'm just going to make both of these a child of the minimap. That way things will be easier. Alright, cool. So now, what I want to do is move this so that it's kind of like down here in the corner and not taking up too much space. So let's make the width even smaller, because already I think it's a bit too big. Let's go 100 by 100. I want this right down in the corner here. So I can use the presets for this, but I'm just going to set the anchors at 1, 0, 1, 0. And then the mask, I'm going to do the same thing. We'll make this 100 by 100, and then we'll make this 1, 0, 1, 0. And then just going to put it right there. Did I mess everything up by making them children of something? I think I might have. Let's get them back out here. Come on now. No, get out of there. Be your own thing. There we go. So if I go back to put my overlay underneath it so it appears on top. And then this should be... Oh, I see why. Okay. So I want its position on X to be -50. On Y, it's going to be +50. There we go. Now, the other thing that you can do, again, like I said, is this minimap, I think, especially bugs me. So I think it's not the worst idea in the world to bring down the opacity on this, but maybe leave the overlay mostly opaque. So now, there we go. All right, cool. Now let's go back to our game here. This magic bar is probably way too big, so let's fix that. Let's open up this again in its little prefab scene. And let's find our slider. Let's actually name this appropriately. We'll call this a magic slider. And I'm fine with leaving it parented up there. I just want it smaller. So then my fill, it doesn't look super great though. I'm just playing around here. I'm sure this makes for great YouTube. I'm gonna leave it there, and the background I'm going to make even more transparent. So back here, how does that look in the game? No, it's too narrow. Can I just Control Z back to where it was? No, I can't. All right. Okay. You get a pass there, slider. Now the coin info. Yeah. You get a pass there, magic slider. Now the coin info, I definitely want this to be a little more transparent, because that's not something you need. It's not like the hearts. And if it's a little more transparent, you can see things coming at you. That's good. Alright, now let's take a look at the pause canvas, which also has the inventory stuff on it. Let's go through this one thing at a time here. So let's turn the inventory panel off because I don't want to deal with that at the moment. Alright, so pause panel. So this is the background image and it's pulled all the way. That's fine. This is anchored in the middle, which will change that. Let's make its anchors 0.25 and 0.75 on X. And let's go 0.1 and 0.9 on Y, and let's resize this. Text did not go all wonky there. That's good. The buttons kind of did though. Let's look at the pause text. So we got pause panel, image. Let's name this background. Pause background. And this is going to be paused. And let's give this an anchor of 0.1, 0.9. And then on Y, let's go 0.8. No, let's go bigger than that. Let's go 0.75. Yeah, that's good. 0.95. All right, now I'm just going to resize this to fit that. And then I'm going to have to change the size of the text as well. All right, so this is paused. Let's do auto size. That looks good. Now, so we got the resume button. Let's make this smaller, say 256 by 50. And the text immediately disappeared. Let's use best fit. You want to avoid using best fit as much as you possibly can, but in this case, I think it works fine. And it's not like it's going to be a huge drain on resources. So let's put this right there. And let's do the same thing to the other buttons really quickly. We'll go 256 by 50. And then we'll choose their text and set them to best fit. Oops, did not mean to move the text, I meant to move the button. And then last one. Where did it? Okay, we got reset save, resume, quit the menu. Oh, I didn't actually rename this, good lord. Save button. Alright, so save button is 256 by 50. I feel like, I don't know, I'm cleaning up a lot of my messes here. I feel like I must have taught some people some super bad habits. So if you ever are making a game and you're doing things inappropriately, but you're doing it in a way that I also do it inappropriately, feel free to write me an email or send me a tweet and be like, curse you, Mr. Taft. Alright, I thought about this the other day too. I don't know why I put this inventory button over here. It makes way more sense design-wise for it to be down here at like the bottom. And then I can put my anchors in that bottom corner and then it should be fine. And this reset save button is fine because that's just there for debug purposes. Alright, so let's look at what this would look like in game. Does it scale well? Yep, scales pretty good. Alright, so now I can take a look at my, let's empty that canvas. I can take a look at my inventory panel. So let's turn the pause panel off, inventory panel on. Holy cow, great big mess of stuff here. So I want to grab a few of the stuff that I did, a few of the things I did here. So my pause background, all right, so my inventory panel is going to be the same limits. So 0.25 and 0.75 on X and 0.1 and 0.9 on Y. And then let's make it 0 from that. That's better. Okay, now we got to change all this stuff in here. Inventory background. So inventory background, I want you to be, let's focus on one thing at a time here. I want you to be, yeah, anchored at the top, that's fine. Let's make you way smaller, like say 256 by 50. No, that's too small. 256 by 96 is good. You are going to be anchored 0.1. And then we're going to, somebody told me that auto size on Text Mesh Pro isn't as bad to use as, oh, I did not want to do that. Auto size isn't as bad to use as the auto fit on Unity's regular text. I don't know if that's true or not. If anybody knows better, feel free to say so in the comments. Alright, I warned you guys this was going to be a long video. I want this on top of everything, so I'm going to put it down there. Alright, let's look at our scroll view here. Alright, so let's put this at 0.1, 0.9 on X, and then on Y, let's do 0.25, 0.75, and then let's change these two zeros. Let's go a little bit up on Y. That's too much. That looks good. And up a little bit from 0.25, like say 0.4. And then put the bottom, no, that's too high. And bottom at 0. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, that's the scroll view. Everything else is based on that, so that should be fine. Let's look at the item description here. So the item description, let's put this at 0.1 and 0.9 on X, and then for Y, let's go like 0.05 to 0.25, and then let's make these 0, and then I'm gonna have to fix where everything is in here. So description text, let's make this 0.05, and let's have that go to 0.8. How about? Let's see how big that makes it. Yeah, that's pretty good. And now for Y, we'll go 0.1 and 0.9. And then we'll make the top and bottom 0 as well. Yeah, that's good. Let's also make this text auto size, because it was overflowing for some of the longer descriptions I made. Let's go to the use button here. Alright, use button. Let's do 0.85 to 0, sorry. Yeah, 0.85 to 0.95 on X. And then on Y, let's go 0.05 to 0.95. And then let's make all of these 0. Oh, that's way too small. Okay, so let's go. Let's try this. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, and then what if I do? Okay, that's not too bad. Now let's grab its text here. This is not the most interesting episode ever. And I'm definitely going to need to split this up into multiple parts. But I know some of you will appreciate me taking the time to fix broken things. Alright, so there we go. We got our pause button here. Let's move our pause button down pretty much where the other one was. And let's anchor that in the bottom left corner. Inventory background. Oh, okay, that's the thing I just... Alright, cool. Let's look at our game view. And let's adjust our size. Haha, so much better. Alright, cool. So, what next? Let's go to our pause canvas here. Let's actually... I think this is how I'm supposed to have it set up. Let's try this out. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. What did I probably changed one of the inputs or something like that. So let's take a look at what I need to do for that. And I don't have Visual Studio open, so let's wait for that to open. Okay, that's what I did wrong. Pause canvas is supposed to be active. So let's hit play. Let's try some stuff out here. So let's pause, inventory, bit rusty, appears to be made of one piece of birch, feels warm. Okay, super not great. We're gonna have to do some fixes here, especially with this one. But for the most part, that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna have to do some scripting fixes to our inventory. Now, what next? So, to be completely honest here, the next thing that bugs me is that I need to clean up just my scene a little bit here. Like, I don't like these sharp lines because there's tiles that are transition tiles. Same thing over here, same thing over here, same thing here. I don't like that I have that there. So, I'm going to fast forward through me fixing up my tile map a little bit, which is not going to be super interesting to watch, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'll meet you back here on the other side. Okay, I know that might seem unnecessary, but that makes me feel a whole lot better about this project because it's been undone since, like, good lord, October, November of last year. So, couple other things I'm going to clean up here really quickly is and this is something that probably only bugs me, the minimap backgrounds aren't quite lining up. So I'm going to go through here really quickly, and I'm going to make sure the minimap markers are where they're supposed to be. And I don't know why I didn't do this to begin with because it's not going to take that long. So I'm going to fast forward through that really quickly. Okay, so that should help out that a little bit. Uh-oh. Huh. What did I do? Oh, okay. So here's what the issue is. I changed the input, but I didn't change it in the script. So let's change it in the script really quickly. Let's open up our player movement. And inside player movement, let's take a look a little bit here. At the same time, I'm going to have my project settings and input up so that I can remember what I name these buttons, because I can't remember things for more than 5 seconds apparently. So we got weapon attack and we got ability. So back in here, we've got horizontal and vertical we didn't change, but this should be weapon attack, and then instead of being second weapon, this is going to be ability. And the ability system is what we're going to be addressing next, so we're going to be coming back to that pretty soon. I just want to check to make sure we're not using it anywhere else. Now, one thing that was brought up, and this was brought up to me a while ago, but it's taken me forever to change it, is in the player movement, in the update, we don't have to set change equal to vector 3.0 every frame, because it'll be changed to that automatically when we do the get access raw. So that's one line that's unnecessary. Alright, so let's save this. Let's go back into Unity here, and let's see if it likes that. Okay, that's better. Alright, cool. And that health bar UI seems bigger than ever now. I know I just changed it, but I'm going to change it again here really quickly. It seems huge. So let's bring this like way the heck down. Let's go like 96 by 64. And let's put it put it 9650, and then let's make that magic slider. Let's just put it right here and leave it its own size for now. Let's see how that looks. Huh, did I not save my changes? Alright, I know this is super boring, so bear with me for just like a second. And then let's grab our coin info, magic slider. Let's leave the slider huge. That doesn't matter. The hearts are still huge. Okay. Let's bring those heart sizes down too. Let's go, width is 18 by 18, and then for there, okay, cool, I am using a horizontal layout group. Let's use 4, spacing is 4, okay. I know this is probably super boring to watch. Let's move you like there. How does it look now? There. I know. Okay, that's just gonna have to be fine for now. It'll just have to be fine for now. Okay, so what else do we need to address here? We haven't even taken a look at any of the pickups or anything like that yet, but I'm going to cut this video off here, and we'll do another video tomorrow on pickups. Yeah, I want to get everything working well before I move on to another system, and that includes fixing the systems I already implemented. So apologies if you are not digging today's video, but we'll get everything working well pretty soon here, and yeah. I hope everybody out there has themselves a good day. There's a few things that people have asked me for in the past that are things that I've addressed in my Patreon. For example, in Patreon I've gone over lighting. However, with 2019.2 I want to do another revised lighting video. That's on my Patreon. There's also a video on how to use a mobile control scheme, how to do transparency effects where when you move behind something it makes it transparent, and others. So feel free to check out my Patreon if you like. Otherwise, I hope everybody has themselves a wonderful day.